and you would have waited for a candle closure below and put stop loss top of the wick and targeted the lows. So I mean, if we do reclaim 26K again, I would be careful with shorts. It's because that would mean it could validate a push to like 26.5, 26.8, and that would probably take out a lot of fucking people. So it's either make or break where we currently are. We're either going to break below and retest like 25.3, or we're going to reclaim 26K and take out liquidity above. So it works both ways.
All right, hopefully that fixed it. I'm hoping it did.
Heaps of stops between 1610, 1552. It's got to go into eventually. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of stops below 1600, definitely. Maybe we get that impulsive move down and then a retracement back upwards. Wasn't quite satisfied with how high Ethereum went when we went to 28K on Bitcoin. We only tapped 17 for I was actually expecting it to hit like 1785 region, 1800 region, because that matches up with all of the important high time frame EMAs and everything. And we missed it by like $60-70, whereas Bitcoin, it broke through the 200 EMA and retested the 100, where Ethereum basically didn't retest any of them. So it's like it's quite weak at the moment.
It's easier for me. There it is. So hopefully that sticks together. I'm not even checking chat. Yeah.
Unify, Perp, XMR, MDT. A few want us to cover them coins in the chat.
Yeah, there's other pairs. I'll have to pull them up. What are they? Unify?
Yeah, Unify. That coin which pumped up to $11. Yeah. You just load it and there's a massive dump.
Yeah, something like this. Never even seen this before.
Seems like it's testing top of that channel.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a strong sell candle right there. Like over at least the last couple days. That's where that massive drop is obviously coming in from. At least it's spiking down even more. I'm going the body of this just because I want to see what that looks like. Yeah, I try to close above it, so they created imbalance right over here on this trend line. So this trend line is important to some capacity. What the hell happened here? What is this?
Yeah, I don't even know. It must be a chart glitch because I didn't see that happening. Let me see on mine.
It spiked to 43.9. When was this? Oh, that was last year. Okay.
Oh yeah, I see that.
June of 2022. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, we're running into some type of resistance there. I got one swing point here. We could possibly get another one right here. But then this could also then be the next swing point too. So just depending on how you're measuring it from. If you're measuring from all the way down here, that's gonna be ugly. But somewhere from right here, 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 and here. And this is already playing out. Yeah. So then this was like if you're measuring out harmonics or patterns, right? Like I'm just looking for extreme swing points. Like here's a swing low. This would be a swing high for us. I'm not really factoring this one in because it reached its all-time high and then plummet down low. So this doesn't look organic. That makes sense. It looks like manipulation, obviously, to pump the price and
Oh
then
yeah,
bring it all the way down.
definitely.
So I'm looking for when I say extreme swings that kind of makes sense. Like okay, the remainder bodies follow in follow in sync, if that makes sense. Not you don't have the next candle just as high or anywhere near it. So that's why I kind of rule this one out as a swing point. Now this over here, the next body, you could view that as the swing point, right? If you're measuring that, but we're looking at just overall downtrend, if seeing if it can break through. You need to get through this, right? You need a body
Well,
above
you
this.
got a shitty chart and you should not trade this. If you want to keep your money, you should not trade this.
Yeah.
This is like you're gambling. This is not a chart. You cannot chart this. I find it amusing. How can you chart this?
Yeah.
You know that
I mean, it's a fucking manipulations, making people jumping in trades, shorting the shit out of it, and
I was trading Unify at like $3. Like, and then like a few
Respect the
fucking
pumps.
weeks after it just pumped. I wasn't in any shorts when it happened, but I was surprised when it did happen. I didn't expect it to go to from $3 to $11 that quickly. So I mean, yeah,
just call it what manipulation is, and we should not trade this because it's like really illogic, right? You mark the levels, you know the technicals and everything, but it's simply retarded because at some point it's gonna be so illogical it's gonna wipe you out. It's called reverse trading.
There's
You
a
think
lag
you
on my
know
side.
what you're doing, but with this type of coins, you're just gonna lose money.
What was
If
the
you're
other
like
coin?
KILLA or CHENTO or everyone else, yeah, if you spend like 20 hours a day,
even then,
it can
I don't.
be calculated risk, but still.
Even then, I don't really typically trade these coins that often. It's only because slightly the money has been flowing into them coins, so that's what I've primarily been looking at. But if Bitcoin was moving more in alt on like the top altcoins like Solana or XRP or Injective or OP were actually moving, then I wouldn't even be touching these coins. I think at the moment the only reason why I'm even looking at them is because of the money flow. And I mean, Unify was negative -2 funding on Bybit for like fucking 1 week, and it just kept going up. And then it dumped after the reset, and the entire dump it was -2 funding. So everyone was long in the dip. So I think there's definitely manipulation, 100% manipulation, is because they're dumping on people who the funding resets manipulated to make you long to an extent.
Yeah. They want you to see one thing and then they're actually going the other way. They're just there.
Yeah,
They're just
exactly.
there to collect the orders.
And if even if you're right, for example, you take a short, you keep your position, even if they squeeze you a little bit, time passes and the funding rate is gonna eat your port. And by the time you're profitable and your short is playing, right, you're gonna get break even or even lose money. It's just they're playing with your money. That's all. They're
Oh yeah,
getting you with the
definitely.
pump. They're getting you with the pump. They make you join the. They make you join the trade. But if you short, it doesn't matter because your shorts are gonna pay the long. So if you have a big funding rate, you should not join the short. And if you long, they always can squeeze you because the range is too high, right? It's pumping like 25 to 35%. I mean, there's a lot of room to play with your portfolio. And most of the time, you're going to lose. No matter if you're successful 1 day, 2 days, 5 days, at
Oh
some
yeah.
point,
If
they're
you,
going to get you.
if you were shorting Unify with the funding being -2, let's say you were even short on like, I don't know, 2-3x and it was a swing. And I mean, let's say you had as I mean at SSL like non hard stop loss and you were just on no leverage swing, the funding fees, if you opened like, I don't know, a 10k position on Unify with -2%, you're paying 200 in fees every 8 hours. So if you were holding a short for fucking 2 days, you're paying like, with a 10k position, like 2k in fees. So it's like with these coins, if you are shorting, you have to make sure you're getting the fucking top of the wick, and getting the top of the wick is very fucking hard, almost impossible to an extent,
It
unless
doesn't
you're
matter.
looking.
Even if you get top of the weekend, if you stay 2 3 days, you're gonna get in break even if you're like in
It
profit
depends.
200%.
It depends, is because after the reset, I remember looking at Unify. After the reset, it wicked up to 11, and it went from 10.5 all the way to 8.5, $2 move in the space of like three hours, or even less than that. So I mean, if you were scalping that short, then before the resets, you would have caught a very big spot move in such a short period of time, and then you would have avoided the funding.
Yeah,
But
but that's precision of a needle to say that, and it's so rare. I mean, even if you're like really, really good, you can mess up. I don't know. It's really risky for most of the traders that we have over stream over here. So I
oh yeah,
wouldn't
definitely, I wouldn't
promote.
touch these guys.
I wouldn't touch this type of coin. That's why Saint is trading Ethereum. Why do you trade just Ethereum Saint? What are the reasons?
It has, I mean, it has so much more versatility that it's literally tapped into everything else. So, in my opinion, it's going to get the most attention. Second, the cap is obviously larger, so it's a little bit more stable in the sense of from rug pulls. Then lastly, it's easier just to kind of know what the moves are going to look like and what to expect from it. Um, if I'm just working that one pair, um, I mean those are the main reasons I've traded multiple at the same time, and I found that if you don't get in at the same time on all those positions and you're just working multiple charts, it can throw you off. At least for me, some other people that can do it, they have the capacity to do that, but I didn't necessarily lose more money. I was more of all over the place, so it was a lot easier for me just to trade one or two pairs at the same time and then just call it a day. So like these are just the main ones that I look at. ETH, BTC, obviously Dixie, ADA, Sol, and LPT.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. I'm very similar. Like I look at alts here and there if a setup presents itself, but I am primarily most of the time trading Bitcoin, just because it's like I'm more organized in in that sense, and I ain't like looking at too many things and getting distracted. So I think yeah, it makes perfect sense to dedicate your time to like one or two pairs, understand how they work very well, and then maybe branch out.
Yeah,
But
and like I said, ETH is like tied to like almost everything that's like crypto related. I mean, it's like the backbone for a lot of applications. I see it in I come from the mortgage finance world. So transactions when they occur using cryptocurrencies, the two tokens have been Bitcoin or Ethereum. Um, so I mean, at the point where it's on a major wealth scale for retail to be using it to that capacity, I just want to be trading the one that has a little bit more safer grounds. Um,
yeah,
have I traded some of these other meme coins before? I have, like just for shits and giggles, just to see what it does. But then I'm out that day, right? Like I don't go back to the chart and then start planning my maps all around it and really putting time and effort into it. I think for me, I'll put 20 minutes into it max. If I can't figure something out within like 20 minutes, then I'll just walk away from it. I'm like, it's too much brain energy. I'll put that energy into something else that I can find a solution or fix it. So that's just that just comes from my background discipline. Like if you can't figure out a file within like 20 minutes or find a solution for your client within like 20 minutes, whether it's their credit or it's their income or their assets, like whatever it is, then it's a dead file. So for me, if I'm looking at a coin and I can't figure out a setup within like 20 minutes that I feel confident about, then to me it's just going to be a dead play.
Yeah, it's not worth your time.
Yep. So that's why I say, you know, meme coins, you know, or some of these other coins, they can just change so frequently. You know, hence you have the rug pulls. Not to say that we don't get that inside crypto altogether, right? Like we don't see spikes and manipulation inside of Ethereum. Like Jamie Dimon himself, or you know these other institutions, but some of these rug pulls on the meme coins are just they're not laughable, but they are at the same time. Just, you know, I'm not involved in it, but you know, some people are like really lose their shirt when it comes to those. So it's a
Yeah,
long
it's
explanation
ridiculous.
why, but that's why I mainly trade ETH. Did this play out? I think I had a long for ADA that I was looking at. Did my computer just freeze? There we go. Yeah, that went active. Yeah. I was just looking at some patterns for like ADA. So if anybody's trading ADA, they want to start trading ADA or anything like that, like these are some of like entry points that I was looking at. I think this pattern may get invalidated. It's quite possible. You know, a close beyond wave D. I don't think that's going to work out. I had a short for Sol. I could feel the lag on my side. This one hasn't gone active. It hasn't even revisited this area since then, right? So this was back in July. So just waiting for this. That's why I'd have limit orders ready. I'd just short that.
Yeah, honestly, alts in general, I haven't actually really been trading them because the movement on them have just been terrible, like literally terrible. I've just, I mean, what I've been doing at the moment is just trading Bitcoin and then hop onto this fucking little hype train with these shit coins because that's where the money's going, and like doing quick scalps in and out on them. But in terms of the top altcoins like Solana, LTC, XRP, on the lower time frame, they're so choppy. It's almost like, in regards to my trade style, I can't find any fucking entry really on them because it's just so choppy. If we're looking at Solana on the 15-minute, for instance, it's just trading within a $1 region, and I normally aim for like when I'm trading Solana like $4 or $5 movements. So
I'm looking at it now. I mean, it's got a decent little uptrend going on. I mean, that's a 15-minute though.
oh, yeah, definitely. Like it does have some volatility on these wicks, like them wicks with the little squeezes. But in terms of my trading style, like I like to swing them bigger moves.
Yep.
And given now how it's trading, if I'm flipping to like the 1 hour or the 2 hour on Solana, it's like terrible to look at. It's like we've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lows.
Yeah.
Kira, can we have you next chatting the link and the address over the chat? Maybe explaining cryptic sense, basically what you've done in the Jedi today, like a smaller version, not the entire version. It took you like 1 hour, the entire. I mean, we covered the same subject that he was asking today, but a smaller version.
Yeah, you want to put stream yours, share screen yours.
Yeah, I could do that. Do that. Right. second.
Let me get Discord ready on my side.
Share screen. All right, let's look through the chat. If it's not too much, can you explain your chart analysis? High time presence, low time kilos, etc. All right, I'll give a short snippet of obviously how I mark my levels a little bit, but I did post in the Jedi section a very in-depth video, which wasn't too long. I believe it was like 30 minutes, but it basically
No, it was 45 minutes. It was a bit long.
I covered essentially almost everything in that video, and there's going to be a lot more other things which are going to be covered. So I'll give you a quick example. I'll start with a fresh chart. All right, let's go to Bitcoin. Let's go to Coinbase. Okay, I've somehow charted this one, so let's remove that. All right, well, in simple terms of how I'm charting things, I like to keep it simple, but obviously there's a lot of fundamental things which go on within my trading, like obviously open interest, fractals, CVD, all these other things. So that's how like I minimize losses for specific levels. But yeah, in the video, I start charting on the 1 day, all of the key levels, connecting most of the highs, where the price has reacted around the price the majority of the time, gives you like an overall gist of where the market is. And then we had our trend line going from around here. I'm not going to mark this, is because before this drop actually happened, this was like front running trend buys. We just had deviation below these two wicks and basically just stopped people out. And then this was a very standard swing play. Like if you drop below this line, and keep falling, it's no long, of course. If you drop below, reclaim on the daily, so this daily wick, for instance, right here, it closed above at 25.7 from its previous deviation below. This would have been a standard long. Your stop loss would have been at the bottom of the wick, and you would have been targeting like 1, 2, 3 highs for TPs, and you would have fully TP. So this was a very standard long. I'm pretty sure it was also called this long as well, all the way up, all the way from 24.8 to 30k. I didn't expect 31.8, but pretty sure I called this long a month or two back. But my trend line, look at these other smaller levels. So we have this previous low here, and we can see here and here. This has been a very key level which we have consistently been reacting to. So just preferably the higher time frame levels, marking all of these wicks, not the top of the wicks. And then I flip to obviously the lower time frame in more clarity, in terms of like filling in the levels which are not visible on the 4-hour chart. So for instance, all these levels which I'm missing, so we have a small level at 26.5 from this previous range. So if I'm marking that, for instance, here, you can see this has been an area where we rejected up previously, and this wick we didn't quite make it to there. So that's why, as I was previously saying.
So basically, as a translation for everyone, most of the experienced traders over here know what KILLA is talking about. For the newer one, it's just about price going to the same level, the same line over and over again. So when this happens, it means the liquidity is over there being left, right? Like other limits, or it's a lot of liquidity in those zones. So you trade based on that. Other than that, I think we should move further to the link and the others.
All right, yeah, okay, we'll do that. Let me look at the chat.
Yes, the stream will be recorded.
Yeah, filling in the lower time frame levels. But I'll go over to alts now. What's CVD? CVD is spot buys. Well, yeah, cumulative volume delta. So yeah, it's basically spot bids and all of that. That's why CVD is important. So on this rally we had for Bitcoin, this was spot driven. Hence, we had somewhat of a nice rally. This specific candle was majorly spot driven because of some news. So essentially, with spot driven rallies, they are sustained. If the rally is sustained on future contracts, then it's just gonna not be sustained enough to have a big enough push upwards. Okay, so Link. I think Saint covered Link or charted a bit of Link, Valor.
Oh shit! I wasn't paying attention. My bad.
Yeah, I touched on Link. I was charting it, but I was looking at it. I was like, not much of an entry there. I was looking at
Yeah, I mean,
It's just going sideways for like I don't know 400 days now.
In terms of Link, I
Yeah.
mean, it's literally just being
It's in a
in
bearish
this
rectangle.
distribution range. Yeah, it's like this low here. I think this was some news with SEC where they said it was a security or something. I can't remember vividly,
Yeah,
but like
it was over some washout. I mean, when the BTC dropped, the entire market was like. I mean, when BTC is dropping now, the altcoins are being killed. Why? Because liquidity is going to move in stronger assets. When price is ranging and it's like stable environment, like we had this week, no major news or anything, the market makers, meaning the exchanges, needs to make money. And how can they make money if the BTC doesn't do anything? They get some this shit coins and they are pumping and dumping the shit out of it, attracting the retail, you guys, and then this is how they get the liquidity.
Yeah.
Imagine 100 people or over 200 people are almost half a million or so in assets. So it's really easy for them to make money just on the fees, like promoting shitcoins, like LPT, like BLZ, like the one that we had in the last period. If we look over the VOCT tournament, right, with the Bybit, we had just 3 coins that really did anything, and those were manipulated. I'm talking about LPT, BLS, and some other one. I didn't remember more, but that was like for 2 or 3 weeks what happened in the market. The rest, the market is just ranging. It doesn't matter like 1 or 2 key moves to the Bitcoin just if you play leverage. And when you play leverage, and I think the most common mistake people are looking for strategies, how to chart and everything, but they do not control their risk management.
Yeah.
Right? So I think the first lesson that a trader should know is like, and of course, understand that it's easy to win, it's easy to make money, but in the same time is as fast as easy as you earn money, you can lose them, right? So this is what makes difference in this space, like keeping your money, because you can do like crazy amounts of money. We had some girls over here past month that did like I don't know 10K, 20K position, made huge gains, and in like 3 weeks, even though I warned them over the stream, remember KILLA, they wiped everything.
I mean, we were both going over that risk management is important because you see, let's say lucky to an extent, I can turn my 1K into 10K, but I can lose it just as fucking quick.
Yep.
And risk management like is probably the most important factor of trading in general because you want to hold on to your gains rather than giving them back to the market. And I think that's where a lot of people make mistakes with risk management. Honestly, if you are trading higher time frame, for instance, sticking with good risk management, even if you're not as active as you could be because of life in general or whatever or work, I mean, just sticking with risk management dedicating like maybe an hour of time to just looking for entries on the higher time frame and understanding how the market works, you'd be surprised how well you'll do just by sticking to a plan, because that's what trading's about. People just get wrecked when they are not following a plan or have any risk management in place. So like gains are just, well, they're easy to make, hard to keep. That's why the same. Which you are making. Yeah, I mean, in regards to Link, Saint posted a chart in the chat. My chart's going to look very similar to his. Like, it's just distributing. It isn't really doing anything. It had a sweep of liquidity below here as well, similar level to what I've marked as well. And I mean, it's probably going to stay in this range until Bitcoin halving, to be honest with you. So that's like, we've got probably another 7 months of trading ping pong between this range for Link. I mean, if we are truly going to distribute lower before the Bitcoin halving, we're probably going to go below 4.8-ish. And this is where you're going to see like prolonged capitulation. It's going to get retail thinking, oh, is this shit ever going to return or go up or whatever? And that's typically where you'd want to scale into spot if you want to, or you believe in the project. So, I mean, we might see a revisit of this 4.8 region, which if we distribute low for Bitcoin. But in terms of alts, they're holding up a bit better. Bitcoin dropped from, I mean, 29K to, well, where it is currently in alts. Well, I mean, I think Solana was, where was Solana? I don't really trade it much, but when Bitcoin was at 29K, I think Solana was sitting at around $24. So I would have expected it to go down a lot fucking further, given that Bitcoin just had this massive drop. So alts in general are holding a bit better. So they could, I mean, let's actually look at total too. Curious. And let's actually have a look at what's happening here, because this might give us an indication of what's happening. So, okay, so we broke. Yeah, okay, so broke the trend line. Double bottom, bearish retest break. Yeah, so alts in, yeah, it's just alts in general. They're just going to probably more than likely going to distribute sideways. You see, we retested the lows again, so now we've got 3 equal lows as well. Also, I doubt they're going to have any big movements anytime soon, and that's what's probably going to annoy a lot of people, is because you want to trade alts. But like, I mean, in terms on the daily, like, we ain't really doing anything. I mean, I can see maybe, I mean, that's a bit far-fetched, but I mean, we could, if Bitcoin starts going up a bit, then we could see an extension to this top of the channel here, matches up with previous high and the lows here as well. So I mean, also probably just going to distribute within this 495 to 614
it just depends on
level.
the main market. And BTC and alts and everything is just going to react to the main market. Is S&P 500, Nasdaq, the trillions of dollars. I mean, if the investment funds are gonna just pull out money from the system, we're gonna just drop, right? You need to build your bias. So I mean, right now we're bearish, but next week, for example, we had a dead week, and now over like Monday we're gonna just do some ranges, and nothing's gonna happen because no liquidity in markets.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's understandable as well. I mean, the reason why I am bearish at the moment is given the fact that, well, I've been bearish since 31K. But the reason why I'm still maintaining being bearish is because I looked at them previous cycles, which I went over which I went over in Jedi in depth. But I'm gonna go over in more in depth with that subject. But in terms of price action and leading up to the halving, we get this initial push in Q1, Q2 for Bitcoin, Q3, Q4's. We just start being bearish, and obviously since 30K, what I expected to play out is playing out, and throughout the rest of this year, Fractals is basically showing that we are probably just going to distribute slowly lower, which is going to equally destroy everyone, and then running into next year's, that is where we get that initial push. So in January, everybody starts getting hyped because of the Bitcoin halving. Bitcoin starts, well, crypto in general starts gaining a lot of interest. Everybody's getting FOMO, and that's understandable because we are very close to the halving. But don't be fooled into entering a position on the FOMO, right? You want to buy when no one's buying. But there's normally a flush down before we go up, before the Bitcoin halving. So in January, probably going to have a nice spike up. January, February, we're going to have a nice spike. So I mean, honestly, what I'm expecting for Bitcoin is this is what I'm expecting. I'm going to look at my dates at the bottom of the chart as well and try and correlate it with time period. But in terms of Bitcoin, I think here October from fractals we have a little pump, so I'm going to draw the pump up. We tap this high here for liquidity purposes, and then we go back down November, slowly distribute in December here, and then we just start doing this, and then January we get that initial push up from the hype because of the Bitcoin halving. Everybody is getting ecstatic. Bitcoin halving's like, if I'm going to draw a line in April, so March, around April the 20th or something like that, everybody's going to see the price here and get absolutely ecstatic. They're going to be like, oh my God, I don't want to miss out, FOMO. And that's understandable because then we are actually approaching a bull market, and then expect a quick flush and then all the way back up. And I'm expecting like this. Like this is based on time period, what I'm expecting in terms of time frame and how I think the market's going to react, just based off what's happened in the past. So I mean, I don't think alts are going to move until we get into well,
Depression.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, yeah.
I have
The
Bitcoin
end
at
of the weekend. The crypto is dying.
Yeah, you see, that's the
Everyone
thing.
go to higher.
With Bitcoin in general, it finds its macro bottom quicker than alts, and Bitcoin's bottom, well, I believe it's here. We went down to 15.5. I believe this is the macro bottom, and it shows in the past that around the exact date, exact time period, that's the level to look for in accumulation. So I believe this is the macro bottom. In terms of prolonged capitulation, if Bitcoin slow bleeds the entire time, alts are probably going to shit themselves, and that's where I'm probably going to buy a fuck ton of spot when everybody sees this crab crawling range.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And I can imagine, let's say I'm buying spot here and it just slow bleeds. I'm just gonna, if the typical retail is like, oh shit, maybe I'll just sell and buy lower. When in reality, whilst you're selling to buy lower, the bottom might be here and you fucked yourself. So I mean, yeah, I'm patiently waiting for something like this to play out for the rest of the, well, up to the halving, and I think Bitcoin will hit probably next bull market 100K easily, just based off your projections and everything. I'll give a quick.
Yeah, I have it at 65K by 2025.
Oh, I think easily it will go there, easily. Let me quickly.
Or just
You've probably done this
time zone
yourself.
wise, yeah.
Right, let me remove this. You've probably done something similar, but
But I think we need to come and tap into like 1918K before we go that way, right? Only way I put a chart inside the chat, but like the only way is if it vertical runs up from here, holds the top of that channel, and then decides to flag out. That's the only way that we don't revisit like 21, 19, or 18K.
Yeah. I see what you mean, but you've probably done this as well, marking this previous bull market high to the bear market
Yep.
accumulation lows,
Yep.
and seeing that
Where it fits
it's
out.
essentially predicted. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. It's predicted the top, and if we're doing the same thing here, for instance, remove this. If we're doing the same thing here, marking the top to the bottom, it's given like if we're looking at the previous fib extension 3.61A, which was the previous highs, it's like up here, and it seems absurd because that would mean crypto's market cap would have to be
Yeah.
probably in, I don't know, like
Trillions.
7, 8 trillion or something.
Yep.
So I mean, you see, I'm not really greedy. I'll be happy just to like buy here and sell the previous highs. Like I don't care about this shit. Obviously, I'm gonna hold some spot for this if it happens, but I'd be happy with just like spot buys going up 2-3x. Honestly, for Bitcoin. In altcoins, I'd probably aim for a bit more. But I mean, it when I draw this fib, I'm looking at the chart. I'm about there's surely no way Bitcoin's going to go to 200k, right? I'm thinking that now. But you see, I picture myself here when Bitcoin went from 20k to 3k, and if they'd done this and saw that it was predicting 69k, then I probably think the same fucking thing. I probably think no way that's going to happen, and in fact, it did. So I think psychologically, it
It's a
might go higher than everybody's
it's
anticipating.
unfathomable, and it'll hit that level. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. It's like sure, it's not going to hit that level, but I can imagine people down here thinking the exact same thing about this pump, and
True,
they
true, true, true,
probably
true.
got surprised. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
it's mental, man, from 4K to 70K.
I was watching.
Imagine those
Go ahead.
who sold at 3K.
Yeah, that's gotta be tough. I was watching a stream the other day, and Bitcoin was like at 3,300. I think it was like 2017 or something like that. I was just looking at that chart. I was like, wow. Imagine buying
For
then.
me, I bought at 3K and I sold around 28K. But imagine that we never saw like 20K or something like that. It was just 3K and maybe 20K range around that area. And I thought, fuck, I'm a genius. I've sold that. And then I found, okay, I made a lot of money because then after I sold Ethereum, after I sold BTC, I bought Ethereum. And after I bought Ethereum, I found Solana at $3.
fucking hell. I
I
bought
bought
Solana at like
I
$30.
bought like 5K of Solana, and then in like maybe 1 week or so, or 2 weeks, I don't know exactly. I was spending my money from the wallet, and it never went down. Every day was money increase, money increase, and money increase. Then I sold Solana at around $18 or so, or 20. It had like 2 weeks of ranging in that area, and I thought it's done. The bear market is coming. Everything is so irrational. Then it fucking pumped to the 200. So market are irrational. You just need to build a spot portfolio while you're trading leverage, like investing in time. I mean, you cannot get millionaire overnight. Just maybe if you buy some shit as coin like Pepe, that's like $50 and you get 2 million. So one of a kind, like winning the
Oh
lottery.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, for me in general, I know for a fucking fact I'm probably gonna sell half my fucking spot before the highs. I know that because
Yeah.
that's just human. I mean, just
It's
you
just a
see,
compounding. Like
yeah, exactly. It's like,
you
but I
need to
think,
think in like 10 years from now, from 20 years from now. I'm creating myself, the future me, a big ass portfolio. I'm investing in well known good products because ultimately crypto is a product, right? And same goes with stocks. I think the Google, the Apples, the Shopify, the other companies over there are gonna do great in the next 10. I don't know, like 100 hours per month to a random guy, and then you're giving back to the market. I mean,
Absolutely.
I've seen with the tournament over the Bybit, we did so good over like starting over the tournament in like 2 or 3 days, the first 2 3 days, and then while everyone thought it's smart, we had guys that doing 800%, 500%, 300%. Some of them got wiped, some of them lost like more than half of their portfolios. What I'm trying to say is just the same. Look over the guys that bought at in the first pump at 40K or 50K, and then they experiencing 25K, they probably sold, then it pumped. good traders. I mean, we had Vesuvius and some other that were really fucking great traders, and they got not just wiped. They lost their lives, meaning their wives cheating on them, all kind of dramas.
Yeah, it's lethal. Very lethal.
And they were
That's why risk
making.
management.
Then I mean, Vesuvius was 10K later on 10x or 50x. I mean, he was mental. I mean, he had some fucking accurate plays. I mean, he was impressive. But with all of that, at some point, he forgot about his risk management, and a story to be learned for others is that no matter how good of a trader you are, if you do not respect the market is gonna eat you.
Oh,
Because
it will humble you.
If you
Yeah,
think
exactly.
you're clever and you're like nailing every move, I mean, get away from the market, go enjoy the money that you have, treat yourself, and come back 1 week later and pray to the God you're gonna lose the next trade, because otherwise you're gonna be humbled by the market.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've seen so many traders over here getting.
I mean, I think everybody is probably been humbled by the market. You go on a winning streak for a while, think you can do a bit bigger size, and then you get fucked, and then you're like, you know what, that was a bad idea. I'm not doing that again. I mean, I think. So I mean, it's happened.
Yeah.
I think it's happened to everyone. I think what differentiates from someone who is profitable is the fact that what differentiates it is just realizing what went wrong and not doing it again.
Yeah.
So
It becomes a choice after that, right? Like all of us have made that mistake of being over leveraged or, thinking like, hey, I'm hot shit now. I'm nailing this. And then it's like touching a hot stove. It's like, all right, I'm not going to do that again. I think the problem becomes in the sense of one, self-discipline, and then two,
Yeah,
depending.
but you cannot stop that. I mean, let's be realists. I mean, I'm like 5 or 6 years of active trading, right?
Yeah.
Even I've done this mistake like a couple of weeks ago. I've been nailing the market past 2 3 months, getting my board like really up, and then I was focusing on some other stuff with you and Chento and others, some things going in real life as well. So I'm having a lot of activity besides trading, right? And for example, I entered a big chunk of my portfolios into the GMX position, and it kept dropping, and I lost over like 50 or 20% of my port, even though I made like 70 to 60% of portfolio. It was stuck on my mind that I've done so great this year, I do not need to worry about 20%. And which then I mean the voice, I mean the experience was falling in my head, get out of the position, because I mean you had a stop loss, you didn't respect it, and now you're getting punished. And remember what happens when you get like 30% drops to the alts, when you're gonna lose like maybe 50% of your entire portfolio. And with one little mistake, I can wipe my entire year of profit just
oh yeah,
because
exactly.
lying to myself that I'm okay, it's just 10%. I've won so many months in a row, I can afford this. But getting the mental game that you're like lying and deceiving yourself, and then you get like get
I mean,
almost wipe out the entire
no,
portfolio.
I mean, the thing is, right? It's like I was gonna fucking say again. I forgot. It's like when you think you are unstoppable and you keep winning, just don't fucking trade, because if you haven't got like risk management in place and that discipline to like stick to your same plan, I promise to God you're gonna lose everything. And then let's say for instance you start from a 1K account. Let's say you build it up to 10K. You're like, oh my God, 10x. I've made 10x. So now you're going to think, okay, I'm going to up my size, up my leverage, do bigger positions. And because you've seen yourself do a 10x, you're going to be like, you know what? I'm actually a good trader, you know?
Yeah.
Psychologically, you're thinking this, and then you're going to be like, okay, so I could do bigger trades. This is where the ego starts to build. And then you get into these bigger trades, and then you forget about your risk management. and then you wipe 50% of your pool. You go from 1K to 10K to 5K, and then because you've lost your 5K, you'll like be in denial. You'll be like, oh, why the fuck did the market do that?
Yeah.
And then you'll
take it
stick your
personal.
5K on max leverage. Yeah, yeah. And then you'll stick your 5K on max leverage or whatever. And then you'll lose everything. And then you'll just be in this fucking massive spiral and you just lose everything you've made. So it's like, in simple terms, when it comes to trading the market, it doesn't matter how confident you are. Like, I'm pretty confident with my trading, but look, I still have my risk management in place every single time. I will take my stop losses every time if I'm wrong. And I think that's what's important. You need to maintain that plan, because if you don't, you're going to literally wipe everything. You need to have risk management. It doesn't matter how many trades you win. You can win for 2 years straight.
But my
and then
point
can
is,
lose everything.
even if you got risk management, right? Because it's human nature is in us. We are greedy. We are, I don't know, getting hyped. We are in different moments in life that experience joy or sadness, and it gets to you, right? The idea is to limit the mistakes. So you're gonna, if you journal your journey, and I mean your trading, and if you're gonna put what you have done, I mean 1 month of trading has passed, you need to journal yourself and recognize your mistakes.
I
If
think
you
it's the same
pinpoint
mistake.
mistakes, you need to just try to limit them and recognize them. And when you feel they happen, you need to just stop and remind yourself, just like everyone else, not like super guru, remind yourself that best traders on Wall Street or over this space are like 63 win rate and have a profitability or maximum 400% per year. This is like 0.001% of the entire population of traders. So you need to be fucking fantastic. What you need to aim is like you need to be the average Joe of trading that having, I don't know, 40 or 50% rate is meaning that you could lose 50 trades, like, right? And but with this, with the good risk management, you could be profitable. You can make a living out of it, having no boss, do whatever you want. It's just pure mindset. That's all.
Hanny said this topic is personal. Yeah, for me, what I was just basically explaining, it is personal. It's because everybody takes them big fucking losses. It's just part of the game, right? It's most traders or people who've been trading for years will have experienced getting fucked one way or another, and that's just part of the game. And what keeps you in the game is just learning from their mistakes, like Vallo was saying, and limiting their mistakes. Even if you make this mistake now and again, is better than making it consistently. If you can limit your mistakes, then obviously you're going to be able to keep your gains. So I mean,
don't think KILLA or Saint Aaron do mistakes. I mean, they're still doing the same fucking mistakes that, I mean, it's in our nature. The idea is to limit them and
Yeah, I think the consistency in mistakes where a lot of people get tied up emotionally is those mistakes are no longer mistakes. They're now just becoming choices. Because if the consistency or at least the frequent pattern is just happening, back to back, let's say someone got liquidated. What the hell is that? Yo, that's weird. Yeah, that's weird.
But no, yeah, well, your mic, echo.
Whose mic is that?
I'm gonna punish you, show you the hammer. Huh? Huh? Now he's quiet.
All right. Damn, I lost my train of thought on that. Well, making the same mistake. Yeah, making the same mistake just ultimately just becomes a choice. Let's say someone let's say they get liquidated, right? Like liquidated, obviously because you didn't have a stop loss. Okay, that was your first time mistake. You were feeling ballsy, what have you. But let's say you get liquidated again shortly after, maybe not the same day or the next day. In my opinion, that's a choice. You didn't learn that lesson, and what I was getting at is, in order to be in this sport, if you will, Vallo's touching on a subject that's right. Like, we all are emotional creatures. We're human beings, right? But it's having an emotional IQ. It's knowing yourself. And I can tell you this upfront, trading will teach you more about yourself than than any other skill. And it's not the wins per se, because the wins, just be humble, right? It's an opportunity to stiffen discipline and record how you achieve that win, but it's those losses that really weed people out. It pushes them into revenge trading, then they lose everything. And then that's when it becomes that cycle of gambling. There is a clear difference between gambling and trading. You do have to have a sense of confidence when you're trading, but the discipline is much more required compared to gambling, because like gambling, I can just pull a lever and wait for a spin and hopefully I win. If you're just taking random shots, just throwing entries in and really not planning what you're doing, you're on the path of making that same mistake you made the first time. So there's, I call them power shifts. Right? If you think about anyone that's ever won the lotto, there's a high percentage of them that become bankrupt within a short span of time. And the main reason for that is psychologically, they've never had that much money. They don't know how to deal. And what I'm saying is, when you have those shifts and you have more capital, you can't do the same things that led you to acquire all that capital. Part of you has to elevate as well along with your capital. That's why they say people that are broke act a different way than people that are wealthy. Yeah, because it's mindset. People that are wealthy are not the same mindset of when they were broke. Sure, there are some attributes of that in the sense of grit and hustle and having a fire in your belly. But what I'm talking about is managing yourself accordingly and managing yourself when you do make those mistakes. So
Couldn't have put it better. You couldn't have put it better, man. That was a perfect explanation to everything.
There's it's
The wrong Jedi.
it's a emotional cycle of change, and you can apply this towards anything. But in the sense of trading, most traders go through that is they hop in a trade and they're like, yep, it's going to go in this direction. I have my plan, yada, yada, yada. And then things don't go their way. And they immediately think, okay, well, let me go and throw it at a different way. Instead of saying, let me actually take a step back and analyze this. I don't have to be in a position. And I think that's where a lot of traders mess themselves up. They're like, well, I will only know if my strategy works if I actually go into a play. Bullshit. You have replay buttons on TradingView. You can back test. You can study just moves and say, hey, if it goes here and it goes there, then great, I have a win. And then that's where journaling comes from. Do that 100 times before you take your first actual trade. The issue is, and that's what I mean by self-discipline, is there's not one trader that I have met that says, yeah, I'll do that before I go and actually put $1 into the market. They do it reverse. They put money into the market, they lose money, and they're like, oh, fuck, let me paper trade. Well, no shit. You have no money. You have to paper trade, and you're forcing yourself to learn versus learn up front before you want to pick up a buzzsaw and say, oh, I'm going to go build a house. No, you're going to cut your damn hand off. It's the same thing. That's why you're blowing up accounts. So that's the self discipline right there. That's really all it takes. And self discipline can take you 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 12 months. They say it takes 10,000 hours of doing anything, wiping your ass for 10,000 hours to be considered a professional. So unless you're taking trades and you've done 10,000 hours worth of trades, you're just an amateur, just like majority of most people you're going to talk to when it comes to trading. But high level individuals that have done this for 10,000 hours plus, they've lost, they've learned, and they've duplicated it to where they've eradicated those mistakes, where they're no longer choices. They may make the same mistake down the road, but it wasn't from a choice perspective, if that makes sense. All right, I'm done.
this, or we're probably going to get that. And that's based on that's just based on liquidity as well. So this would be testing the 200 EMA liquidity imbalance on this wick here, taking liquidity out and then coming back down. Or if there's wait, someone's mic.
I got it.
Right. And so in terms of liquidity, we have a bunch down here and a bunch down here. And you see, what was going through my mind is if we were going to take this out, I wouldn't expect this rejection to happen this was a bad rejection. So I wouldn't actually have anticipated us to reject here this badly. I was expecting us to go up, tap into the liquidity pool, and then come back down. But given the fact we rejected beforehand and we broke structure, is giving me the impression that, okay, so we've taken some liquidity above, but now it looks like we are breaking structure to the downside. We've had multiple lows here in which these levels could possibly be taken, and we could fill this futures wick here at 24.2 before having any impulsive move like this, for instance, from 24.2. But in terms of liquidity, I think there's an equal amount in both directions. In terms of longs, we have liquidations here as well, all the way down to basically there's a cluster. There's a big fucking box of liquidations here. But yeah, we're gonna end the stream now. Hopefully that answers any questions. And Jedi's ping me in the private section if you have any questions as well. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later.
Thank you for the stream, guys. See you
Yeah, no
next
problem.
week.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for coming on out. Anybody needs anything, just reach
Yep.
out to us. And
Thank you. Keep recording, right? So whenever you have the recording, let's post it over for the ones that didn't at the time.
Yep. It's in 2 forms, so I'll make sure I get it over to everybody.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you.
See you guys
Later.
Yep. See you.